Hey everyone, my name is Janelle Summers and this is the Team Hardcore training call. Today is July 27th and our call today is called the 3 C's: compassion, courage, and consistency. This is going to be an amazing call. I hope you have your notepad ready or whatever you take notes on, and you're going to take notes, and this is one that you're going to want to send to all your team members and probably include it in your coach training. I have no doubt that this is going to be an amazing call. These two that are speaking on the call today are, first of all, they're so funny, and I love funny people. And I haven't known them very long at all. We practically just met on social media, and then I saw them at Summit. And I just already adore them. Right away, got a great impression from them. And I remember when I first saw a YouTube video of them, and I thought, oh my gosh, we need to have them speak on one of our team calls. So I'm very, very excited to have them, and I think we're just so fortunate to hear from them. So let me introduce to you, we have Jamie and Kim Fitzpatrick. Let me give you their stats and ranks and info. Jamie is a 14-star diamond. He is a top 10 coach, ranked number 6 for last year, finished number 6 in the whole network. Awesome. He is of course, the top ranked male in the whole entire network, and he is a Success Club 10 legend. And then his wife, Kim, also, of course, a complete rock star in the business. She is a 5-star diamond. She's ranked number 47 in the network, and she's a Success Club 10 all-star. So obviously these two are a total power couple, and they're just really down to earth, just great people. And I'm really excited to have them on this call. And I know they have kids too. They have a busy life. And we were just talking about coming back from Summit and recovering from all of that. So happy to have you two. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yep. You're good.
Sure. Hey. Thanks, Janelle.
You got us? You're good?
You're good. I'm good. We're all good.
All right.
Woo.
Hello, everybody. We are so honored to be able to share with you guys today. Huge shout out to Janelle. Thank you so much. We're excited about this.
If I need a confidence boost, I'm just going to text you, Janelle, and you can just talk.
Just play this recording on repeat.
Thank you.
I love that.
Yeah, obviously, really honored to be here. And it's funny, I was talking to Kim earlier. Obviously, I have a huge amount of respect for you, Janelle. And we feel we're such new coaches. We feel like we're such newbies to the business. But yeah, we take these things really serious. And I think what we love about Beachbody and the company is just how much everyone gives back and shares their knowledge as best they can. So I always remember when I started as a coach, I reached out to a lot of people for advice. So I try to do the same. It's not always easy to respond to people and stuff, but yeah, I just always am very proud to belong to Beachbody because everyone is so giving and so friendly and so authentic. So I'm always proud of that. But yeah, so we were talking before about how, you know, we're just post Summit and we've kind of physically recovered, mentally recovered. And I guess mostly what we didn't want to do was come on the call and blast you with technicalities of how to be a coach, because we just all got that after. I know even I feel, and I know you felt it too, after Summit, you feel like you have all these ideas. How do you implement them? So we didn't want to add on to that stack. And as we say on all team calls, the stuff we're going to talk about today, you've probably heard it before. We just hope that maybe you hear it in a different way, and our story and how we, you know, practice compassion and courage and credibility and all that stuff, maybe you're going to hear it a different way. And we hope it kind of inspires and motivates you to take what you learned at Summit and apply it to your business. And I'm a firm believer that, like anything in life, any success, it's just all about action and taking action. And sometimes you got to have some courage to do that kind of stuff. So we get into that. And the other part too I wanted to say is the list of credentials and stats and ranks that Janelle said. You know, I hope you from Kim and I, what you understand is that this is possible for everybody to do. And we recently left our full-time jobs, but all those stats that were talked about, we had full-time jobs when we did that. And I'm not saying that out of ego or that we're awesome. I'm just
raising up 2 little humans that require a lot of attention.
Yeah. But it is possible. And we stayed married too. So
yes.
through all of that, it's possible to do this, and it's possible to start this business part-time, and it's possible to chase your dreams.
And I was doing my degree as well.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So
it's possible to do this. And yeah, it's going to require some sacrifice and some commitment and some hard work, but it's definitely doable. And if we can do it, I really mean that. If we can do it, anyone can do it. So
yeah, 100%.
You want to start off? You want me to go?
Well, I think why don't we just kind of talk about how we got started and how we fell into this. I know that you kind of usually start this off. I mean, I can certainly do that too. Isn't it funny how you have your little, your little roles and your little stories? So I do want to say though, that we started actually as customers of Beachbody about 9 years ago. So we have literally done, we own this many DVD programs. Like we have stacks. You know what I also got a kick out of when the on-demand came and you get the deluxe videos? I was in love with buying the extra DVD deluxe videos. So we have like all the bells and whistles of we're going to have a vintage DVD collection at some point. And what I love about that is that we started as clients first, and we did that. And we worked through the years on and off, but always staying very committed. We started drinking Shakeology as soon as it came to Canada. And actually, believe it or not, it was my thing that I absolutely loved it. And every month I would get Jamie saying to me, why are you paying so much money for that? Please tell me you've canceled it.
I was that spouse.
And every month I'm like, I have canceled it. I've canceled it. And then like 30 days later, the box showed up again. And I was like, I don't know what keeps happening. But I learned that that had become such a staple in my day.
A marriage built on lies.
And then he started drinking it and the rest followed. But how we got into coaching, and I'll let you kind of jump into that, was really your jump, because I was too busy. I was working in the corporate world. I was raising up two little babies, our babies.
Thank you. I was involved in that.
I was finishing my degree. I mean, the list goes on of all the many different hats we wear. And the other thing is that I actually too, when we first started, was in that, I'm going to say, that roller coaster of life where you would be on again. And then, does this resonate with any of you? I'm going to start Monday. I'm going to go all in Monday. And then on Sunday, I would eat everything I could find, because I was buffering my life, right? We were buffering our lives because life was full. Life was stressful. We were both working, traveling a ton. And often we were just passing ships in the sea. And I think we came to a point where you had, and I'll let you jump in. You said, you know what, we got to try something different. We need something more. And I'll let you kind of take over on that.
Yeah, I think you have to get to a point where and I think I say this quite often, but like you get to a point in your life where your desire to change your circumstances really has to be stronger than your desire to stay the same. And that's the point that we got to. And so, I mean, going back a ways, and I don't want to talk too much about what I've done in the past, but my brother and I started a company. We had a chain of retail stores, through a bunch of stuff. We had different business partners we brought in, and the vision wasn't there. And we got to a point where we technically had a pretty successful company, but we started getting into all this stuff with the stores and franchise. We were franchisors, and the level of stress, this is going back to about 2008 now. The level of stress in my life, we had just had our son, a newborn baby, and I was miserable. And through, the stress, I'm a self-medicator, food, alcohol, all that stuff. And I gained about 60 pounds, 65 pounds. I'm a comfortable 190, 195. I'm not to talk about weight, but just so you get a feel. I was up to about 245, maybe even 250. And it was just through self-medication. Yeah. And so I was watching TV one night, probably eating pizza, the usual, and I used to play like online poker till like 2 or 3 in the morning. And
we actually purged, just a note, I showed Jamie, it said How to Be Killer at Poker. Yeah. And it was one of his self-help books back in the day.
We cleaned out our basement here. Yeah, we did a post about it this morning, and it was like how to beat online poker or something. Anyway, it's so funny. And so I was watching TV one night, and P90X infomercial came on. And for whatever reason, Tony Horton, it clicked with me. And I mean, I've always been athletic my whole life and stuff, but so I ordered it, and that was the start of Beachbody for us. And like Kim said, we ordered every program. We stayed on it. When Shakeology came to Canada, we would use that and stuff. And then,
but here's the kicker, guys. Are you ready for this? Pay close. Pay close. This is the lesson in this story. We didn't have one person reach out to us on social media. We didn't know who our coach was. we didn't, and we posted on social, like, I mean, not a lot, but we posted, we worked out, we drank, I was the one who carried my little shake all over the place. And never did we get reached out. Never did we get approached.
No invites.
No invites.
We'd never been in a challenge group. So you bring this up because we always say this. It's like we were customers for 7 years before coaching.
Longer than that.
No, before coaching.
Oh, before coaching. Yeah. Yeah.
We like, everyone says it's all saturated. It's not saturated. You just are used to it because you have coaches in your newsfeed, but no one ever reached out to us about accountability group, customer, coaching.
Yeah.
Like, we could be in your downline. Like,
first of all, my apologies for being reached out to. Secondly, what was I thinking? And third, do you think that maybe other people thought you were already coaches?
No, because we weren't posting that much.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would post. I certainly wasn't posting that much.
But we would post like family workouts when we were getting back into it, or, you know, we do that stuff. I remember when I had Colby, I was like, I gained 67 pounds both times. So I was on a journey, and everyone would watch my weight go and and, you know, those kind of things each time. And again, not that it's about weight. But yeah, it was crazy. And it feels as though, as like, you know, when you want a new car and then all of a sudden that's only the car you see.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it felt like when we decided to become a coach. And in fact, our neighbor walked across the street and had just signed up to be a Beachbody coach.
Crazy story.
And it's a crazy coincidence that it felt like all of these signs started to come into play when we started to coach, and it made perfect sense. But the point of that is don't stop connecting. Don't stop. And when I say invite, and we'll talk about this, I mean connect, because you will learn more about people by getting to know them, to offer this beautiful opportunity up by learning on who we are. If someone had stopped and paused to learn who we were, they would have realized this was the perfect fit for us. Yeah. And that's where I wanted to just jump in on that.
Yeah.
So,
and you and I tell our team this all the time. You never know who the next person you're going to connect with is. Yeah. You just never know what they need in their life at that moment. And I think we're good. That story is a good example of that. Like there's people out there who they're ready to take this. They're ready to change their life with this opportunity. And you could be the person that finds them. So you have to start with that. Absolutely. Just to finish off that story. So about 2014, I'd learned about coaching because it came later to Canada. We're Canadian, if you can't tell yet. So about the start of 2015, I literally, I decided, and we had sat on the couch and things weren't in our corporate jobs were so busy. And I finally said to Kim, we're going to do this. And I was going to sign up with this. I was kind of doing my research online, and I was going to sign up with this gentleman. I still know his name. I won't say it. And he actually still likes my stuff on social media. But he was friends with Tony Horton, and that really, Tony is my guy. That's how and I was about to sign up with him, and Kim's sister actually does network marketing, Stella and Dot. She's pretty successful. She's like, Jamie, just before you do that, just do some research and find the top Beachbody coach in Canada. So I literally went online and I Googled top Beachbody coach in Canada. My upline came up, and I emailed him instantly. He called me within 30 seconds. And he said, I thought you were serious. Because Jamie did a job application, basically. Yeah, I felt like I was applying for a job with Beachbody almost. And I was like, oh my God. And he called me within 30 seconds. And I just said, wow, that was quick. He's like, well, you sounded serious. And I said, well, I am. That was January 2015. And the past 2.5 years has been, it's been wild. It's been crazy. At times it's been hard, but Kim came home from her corporate job in February. I came home about 2 months ago, maybe 6 weeks now. Yeah. So when we sit on the couch and we talk about this, we don't look at each other and go, ooh, I can't wait to get a bigger house or a new car, or maybe we talk about taking an extra vacation. But what's come from this for us is we just look at each other, and we say this at least once a week. We're just like, can you believe we get to do this for a living? Can you believe we get to help people at home, take our kids to school, pick them up, have the freedom to choose what we do in our day? And we don't talk about the stuff. We talk about what we get to do. Yeah. And that's really important for us. And that's been our goal for us. So I hope that story inspires you a little bit to to reach for the stars. That being said, you know, and our first kind of C is courage.
Yeah.
And this is a pet peeve of mine. I get why it happens all the time. I think you have to have a large amount of courage, because what we do is outside of the box. We don't fit in the societal norm. We don't fit what they teach you in high school to be, you know, go to university, get your degree, get $100,000 in debt, hopefully get a job. I did that too. I did that. You know, we don't teach people to have the courage to be happy. Society teaches people to fit into a box, unfortunately. And for me, that's sad. And part of that is having the courage to break out of those years of sort of conditioning of what we're supposed to do. And I'm a fan of practicality. I get it. We have bills, we have kids, you know, that's why we kept our jobs for so long. We wanted to make sure that we were being responsible. But the opinion of others on what you do, and I know you hear about this a lot, it's a huge pet peeve of mine. I always just go back to, like, you know, and I'm a guy's guy. I'm a dude. I like sports. I drink beer. I'm not extra sensitive than another guy out there. I'm from a small town in Canada. But I always go back to what our life is turning into, and how blessed we are, and how grateful we are, and what we get to do every day. Just everything positive that this opportunity has brought us. Like, we really feel like we're living a dream life. And I always say, what a shame it is that some people maybe could achieve this but never get to this because they're afraid of one or two people that they probably never ever talk to that much anyway. And they let those people change the course of their life. And to me, it's so sad. It really is. It gets me choked up because it happens a lot.
Yeah. And I think it also actually prevents people from actually taking control of their business at times as well. And your Beachbody coaching life and your level of success will be completely correlated to the level of and determined by the level of courage you have. And that goes with everything. It's like the smallest action. It's by waking up and stating those affirmations, those big, hairy affirmations that I am going to attract beautiful souls today that are going to help to inspire and lead and help to make a true difference in other people's lives. It takes courage to ask the universe for that. It takes courage to show up with conviction in your purpose. And it takes courage to show up and rock your greatness. Because some people say, how dare you? And I say, how dare I not? Right. How dare I not? Because we've all probably lived in shadows or shells of what other people have either placed on us or put on us in our past. And sometimes we talk so much about sharing our why and sharing our stories, you know, and making sure that we're, you know, and we invite and we do all these things. But at the end of the day, guys, nobody cares about what we say we will do. They matter that we have the bravery to take the action and follow up on what our commitments are. So that is on our goals. That is making sure that we're serving our clients. That is making sure that you are honoring your commitments. And that takes courage, guys. It takes courage to follow up with someone that's maybe, you know, fallen off track and you're worried you might offend them. Well, you're not. You're making sure that they're staying in line with their goals, which is also going to help you serve your business. And it's also going to help you make sure that you are running great groups. You are showing up on social media as who you need to be. But that takes all the courage. It takes all the courage. And it takes less promising and more delivering. It takes more action and more consistency, but it all stems from courage, and courage is just the magic of this business, right?
Yeah, we both come from families that are, your family's pretty conservative, pretty traditional.
Very conservative.
My family is less traditional. Like there's some entrepreneurial spirits there, but like Kim had a great corporate job, like really, and moving up in the company, you know, she just finished her gerontology degree, huge, bright future. And as we're doing this Beachbody thing, you know, Kim's dad, who's awesome, like what?
Fully supportive.
But what did he say to you?
Well, I said to him, Dad, I think I'm going to quit my job. He said, oh, perfect. You're going to quit Beachbody. And I said, no, Dad, I'm going to quit my corporate job. And he's like, why would you do that? And so I realized the whole lens that he actually didn't know what I did.
Right.
And that's where courage came in, because I got so caught up in having a title. And I got so caught up, guys, in like, and I can dive in a little bit, like I lived my whole life, guys, searching for love. I lived my whole life trying to people please. I lived my whole life trying to find courage within myself, because what happened when I was conceived, my mom and my dad found out that my mom's cancer had come back. And I was a glimmer. I was a dream. And I was told, my parents were told that they had a choice. They had to either get chemo or have an abortion. And my mom had all the courage. My mom chose me, this little light that she didn't know who it was going to be. And she got sicker and got sicker. She went into the hospital when she was 6 months pregnant with me and didn't come back out. And I was born, and I was raised by a lot of different people. And I still get stopped on the street by people that took care of me in that first 11 months. And my mom passed away on Remembrance Day. For Canadians, that's the time where we honor our veterans and our, so much like your, you know, same thing, but Memorial Day. So she passed just before 11 o'clock. And that's the day that we always honor who gave their lives for us.
Yeah.
And I realized that my mom was the fire that I was missing my whole life. She was the person that gave me the chance to live a legacy. And I wasn't acting on courage for 35 years of my life, guys. I lived in victim land. I believed that everything happened to me. I would be struggling through all this stuff. And I was climbing that corporate ladder, but I was unfulfilled. I was upset all the time. I was highly anxious, but yet I wore a really big fake smile on the outside that really just, because I didn't know how to handle anything else. Mm-hmm. And when the world of coaching came in, I started to realize that I was missing out on a lot of things. And when I had my children, that was really the impetus for me realizing that I hadn't been living a life. And I had been searching for unconditional love my whole life that I wasn't going to get. My dad remarried. They did the very best they could, but I still don't have, unfortunately, a great relationship with my parents. And I had to learn that I had to build that for my children and our family and our future. And that past imprints can be changed, but only if you have the courage to act on your action. And only if you have the courage to step into your power and say, forget it. I'm not going to live as a victim any longer. And I'm going to step into my power, and I'm going to honor the legacy, and I'm going to rock this life and make sure that every woman and man, every woman though, knows that they're worthy, that they are worth being in their best state, physically, mentally, and emotionally, because I was on the other side. And I know it feels a hell of a lot better on this side. Does it take courage to bear that on social media? 100%. Have we helped and inspired over 400 women already in the last few months? Yeah, we have. And that makes it different, because my story, guys, is sharing. My story is my conviction. My passion is my purpose. And as soon as you can dovetail this beautiful opportunity we have with your purpose and what your vision is and what your why is, the floodgates open. And it isn't about how many people you impact. It's if you make a difference in one person's life a day, or even in that month, or even 2, or even 3. As long as you are staying true to who you are, and you're stepping into your courage, and you're stepping into your voice, the rest is going to come to you, because you have every tool you need to be successful. You have Janelle Summers as your upline.
Wow.
So
blew our minds. That story was so powerful. Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm just gonna go. We're done. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good.
So that's a little bit about courage, though. It takes all the courage for me to share that, Janelle, and bare my soul. But who would I be if I didn't? Because who I used to be 2.5 years ago wasn't a better state. And is it scary? to have your parents like not agreeing necessarily. Yeah, that happens, and it happens to us too. With and I think that's where a lot of our newer coaches, right? Well, what if we, people don't really like what I'm doing and those types of things, and that's where I invite people to think about that courage component, right?
And it comes down to the responsibility of your happiness. You're responsible for your happiness, and it's hard sometimes to push people's opinions aside, but that's part of it. And I think what you can see from Kim too is a few things. A, always marry up like I did, and B, you can see though that I have a kind of a firm belief that the level of passion and your stories and your struggles and everything you've been through, you got to bring that passion and use it in this business. Like, this business is a perfect opportunity. You see it from Kim, that passion. Like, when you talk about this with people feel that from you. Like, they feel that energy and they want to be a part of that. So if you maybe are missing some of that, you got to dig deep into what you've been through to bring that passion up. So, and that kind of leads us into compassion. And that's kind of, we tend to run our business, and it might sound a little bit hokey, I don't know, cliche, but we really lead. We try to lead with love. We try to lead with people first. Business won't turn into anything if you lead with business first. This is a relationship business. So we try to practice compassion all the time, right?
And we really try to practice servant leadership. And I just want to give you guys this perspective as well.
And some people don't necessarily know what that term means, maybe, right?
So, and I think at the end of the day, too, servant leadership is about putting others before you. Servant leadership is that second paycheck, right? Servant leadership is the fact that you're waking up to those messages of someone that you've helped so much. And, at the end of the day, servant leadership is also about influencing and inspiring and supporting and serving change. And it's about leading from your heart. And often I think we can get caught in a web of what's called an employee mindset versus a CEO mindset. And I think when we talk about compassion, there's so many people that, because you love so much, and because we've also grown up in our box of society where there's a bit of a hierarchy, right? Where the CEO leads this and blah, blah, blah. Well, this business, you get to be your CEO, but you actually are partnering with everybody else in your organization that are their own CEOs. So the more we think about this as a partnership and a heart-strong partnership, and that you're leading with people first, and you're not thinking that this is somebody you have to manage, that takes so much stuff outside of it as well. And we had go ahead.
I was just going to say, and we say this all the time, is like the moment that you start, any coach that starts to complain about their business, and the moment they either start to complain about their upline or their training or their upline's upline, the moment you start to complain that way, you're in an employee mindset. It's your business. Yeah. You're responsible for it. That's on you. It doesn't matter what your upline's doing. Think of whatever your upline, whatever team you're on, whatever resources they're providing you, that's just a bonus.
Yeah.
That's a benefit. Yeah, they should be mentoring and guiding you, but this is your baby. Mm-hmm. You are responsible for this. The moment you complain about that, that's an employee mindset. You think someone else should be responsible for your success.
Yeah. And the other thing is, you have to remember is that your vibe's going to attract your tribe. So who are you? What is your vibe? And who are you attracting? Because if you aren't happy with certain things, then that's part of our leadership too. And that's up to us as leaders to be looking in and making sure that we're able to be doing that properly. And compassion also dovetails not just from the coaching and serving the coaches that are on your team, but it's also to the clients and the future potential clients that you're going to have. When you have compassion with people, just like actually, perfect example, Shalene said, don't tell me you're going to sell me. This isn't about selling, guys. And this is where the compassion piece comes in. And I've had some amazing conversations with some of our leaders that say, well, I ran the free group and I got no one. Well, that was a waste of time. And I'm like, stop it. We have some incredible leaders that are ranking beautifully from clean eating groups that we did years ago. So it's people's timelines, and you can't push someone when they're not ready. You just have to show up. You have to be compassionate. You have to be courageous, and you have to make sure that you're helping people understand that you have a solution, that you are going to be able to help offer them something, and that you're a resource. And I always say, when you're talking about social media, we use acronyms for some reason, and they all come with letters. So for me, I always think about the 3 R's. And this comes down directly to compassion. Are you being real? Are you being you? Are you being relatable? And are you being a resource? And the more you can do those 3 things, and you analyze your social media, you analyze those conversations that you get to have with those, did you hear that? You get to have, you don't have to have them. And as soon as you change that mindset that this is such a gift to be able to have these conversations with women that may not be ready today, but because of your stewardship and your leadership and your girl bossness, that they might be ready in 8 weeks from now or a year, but whatever, you're making a difference in their life. And you have to remember that. This is a marathon, not a sprint, in every single aspect of your business. And if you don't root compassion in what you're doing, then you will not have that long-term success. You will not have those referrals. You will not be feeling that joy. And this is what this business is about. It's about building relationships. It's about connection through compassion. And it's about having joy along this journey.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Another mic drop. You ever thought about being a coach? The crazy part about Kim is, like, when I started, I kind of did the first 6 months. Kim was in our challenge groups, and she was like, she'd bring me people she's working with, coaches, customers. But yeah, she didn't coach for probably 6 months.
And guys, when I started to go all in coaching, well, I started to realize I needed the one thing is I thought I knew how to eat clean. Well, I was making fun of those portion control containers. Don't tell Autumn, but I was like, that's insane. You cannot overeat healthy foods. And then I went into the portion control containers, and I'm in the best state I've ever been. So I really do have Autumn's amazing portion control system to thank for that. But what happened was a beautiful thing. I've got to be a part of a community, which we'd never been on before. Remember, when we were customers, we had no support. So we were blindly doing this. So as soon as you started and built our community, I was entered into a community. So I started seeing other people cheering you on. And then I'm like, well, I kind of feel guilty if I don't work out and post my sweat. Like, I sort of felt that great fear of missing out, which we call FOMO. Oh boy, I need to be a part of this. I should be posting my meals, all those things. And what happened was I actually started to transform. The other thing you did, Jamie, for spouses on the calls, or you sat me down in the first 3 weeks of our business, and you said, here's what I know. I want to work this business. I'm excited about what this is going to bring. This will take sacrifice. This will mean it will be hard work for me. And, and then what I really liked what you said was, and I think you actually, when I would bring a couple of my friends back from the tables, like the boardroom table, you would let me go get my manicure. And I was like, oh, this is heaven. I'm going to start bringing in people for manicures and get my hair done. So it was a great little win-win. You helped me to see the silver lining. And it's not about the things, it's not about the stuff. But back then for me, it was a little treat, and it was a reward to be supporting you. But what happened was, so we needed the community. I needed my own transformation. I needed to know that the programs really worked from start to finish. Again, we never did them very well on our own. And then we went to an event. And it was the power of the event in Winnipeg that we had gone to. I was a diamond. I didn't even know what a diamond was. And I was like sitting there like, shh, at the time, back in the day. Don't worry, I do know it very well now. But I remember walking into the event feeling very proud, because I knew that it had been something that it meant something. It was a big deal, and it was a really cool thing. So I walked in being like, yes, I'm a diamond, proud of that. So I already was feeling very proud. So thank you. And then I realized more and more as I started to hear things, and I was listening, and all the pieces came together because you had placed me in the challenge group. Mm-hmm. I was watching what you were doing, and all those things had come into play for me. So the event was such a big deal, and that's when I went all in, was in August. And that's, so guys, events are key. Get your team to events, get your spouse to events, so they understand the why and the what you're doing. You did that for me, and it really changed our lives.
I didn't know you'd be this good of a coach, though.
Thank you.
No, seriously.
Neither did I.
No, it's like, I mean, you know, I married Kim because I loved her at the time with no coaching. And, you know, it just, and that's part of that thing where it's like, you know, when you signed up to be a coach, I was just like, holy cow, you're really good at this. And then that was just kind of like, you know, then it just kind of.
And I want to say one thing just quickly about that, guys. For so long, I thought that I was supposed to be in senior living. For so long, I thought that was what I was supposed to be doing.
Work for a retirement.
Oh, sorry, senior living, so older adults. So I was supporting and serving older adults. And I had one woman say to me at one point, and I don't know whether this will strike a chord with any of you, but I said, no, but this is what I went to school for, and this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And she said, she took my hand, so pretend I'm holding your hand right now, guys. She said, but is it? And it was like a rush of electricity went through my body, and it was permission for me to look somewhere else. It was permission for me to actually maybe look at this as something bigger. And as soon as that happened, that's also when it changed too, because sometimes, guys, and that's where it comes back to the courage of believing in yourself, the courage of believing in what you might have right in your palm of your hand. You have to give yourself permission that this might just be the perfect job for you. This might just be exactly what you were born to do.
And that goes back to like the third category, which is credibility.
Yeah.
And because we get asked a lot, you know, I don't feel credible. I don't have any experience, all that stuff. And I will say, like, we've had a pretty fast, whatever you want to call it, rise in the business. And I think we all start at different levels. I would consider myself a little bit older of a coach. I turned 45 this year. So I started, I guess, when I was 42 or whatever that is. I'm bad at math. But I'd done some other stuff in my life. Like I taught high school for 7 years, and then we opened our business and we did that. So although I probably only had about 600 friends on Facebook, but you know, I knew more people than probably the average person coming in, because just from life experience. Yeah. So I might have had that little advantage. But as far as credibility goes, this is the X factor, right? Is credibility comes from how much you're willing to learn. Credibility comes from your commitment to personal development. And I knew you get sick of personal development. I know everyone preaches it to you. There is a reason you get sick of it. There's a reason everyone preaches it, because personal development, it builds up an armor for you. For a couple things, it builds up an armor so that you don't care. Didn't care what my cousin Joe thought about my initial Facebook post. And it's the reason we're here now. I didn't care about that because PD built that up in me. And personal development also makes you think differently. It provides you content for social media. You know, sometimes when we're even not sure what should we post, we'll go live on Facebook or do a post about what we're doing in personal development, the book we're reading, the podcast. And we're like, yeah, let's talk about that. And we'll just go and talk about that. All the stuff that, and a lot of the, when you hear people as guests on team calls or on National Wake Up calls and all those things, a lot of that learning and stuff is from the personal development they've done. Like, you can really tell when someone's done a lot of personal development, because their thought processes are different, and they're consuming all this knowledge. And just like we consume in our diet and food that makes us healthy, like you're watching TV, you're just consuming stuff that's not pushing your business forward. So part of the credibility piece is like, do your PD, be a student, get in a learner's mindset constantly. So when I started coaching, I consumed every piece of information. I didn't just rely on my upline. I didn't rely on him. I spent hours researching network marketing, coaching, Beachbody programs, connections, social media, Instagram. I just consumed it all because I knew that I had to be a student of that, like I had my whole life with whatever I was doing. And that's part of that responsibility, where I was grateful for my upline. He gave me some great tips. He's awesome. We're friends. He still is my biggest supporter, other than Kim maybe. But I don't rely on him. You know, I rely on me. I rely on Kim and I to constantly learn this changing landscape of social media. And that goes back to credibility. You got to build your own credibility in this business.
Totally.
Did you want to talk about
No, it was great.
So
You're good.
So the personal development piece, and I can tell, I got on a call. We've been doing Zoom calls all week with our leaders and a bunch of other people and stuff like that. And a girl came on and within about 20 seconds, I said, stop. She's like, what? I said, just stop. I said, you're not doing personal development, are you? She's like if she was getting in trouble from you or something. And I just like, it took me about 20 seconds. I said, I can tell. Yeah. I said, you're slouching. You have no confidence. Your business is struggling. I said, you don't even have to tell me what's wrong. I said, you're not doing PD. And she was just like, you're right. I know. Like she's getting in trouble from the principal. But it's easy to tell if people are doing it or not. It's how they carry themselves.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, and I think that at the end of the day, too, guys, there's really no excuse. It should be one of your first things that you do. The other thing is that if you can't take the time to read a book, put a podcast in. There are so many ways that you can get your PD in. It's not even funny.
No, I'm literally, and I'm not making fun of this because I'm legitimately like, I'm a little OCD and ADD. You're probably ADD too.
Well, probably.
A little bit. And I literally, if I pick up a book and I'll read a page, I have to go back and reread it a few times because my mind it's hard for me to consume that. So I'm a huge podcast guy as well. So
and this is something I've learned too, is that not during Chris Downing's Shift Shop, but when I've done other workouts, that's when I also listen to my PD, because you listen and you hear things when you're concentrating. And to sit down for any of us, mostly type A personalities, I want to say a lot of us are, to sit down and try to take in anything with knowing all the other things you have to go on, it's a lot. So for me, I'll pop it in when I'm doing the laundry. Those mindless tasks that then at least you're dialed in and you're plugged in. And that's really, really important. And you know what? Our kids are witnessing our personal development. They're involved in what we're doing. We've had our kids sometimes say, you're always on your phone. And that used to be the thing. And we don't hear that as much anymore because we've been really aware of knowing that our kids don't need our constant attention. They need our connection, just like our challengers do, just like our coaches do, just like your spouse does. They need our connection. So, we're going to get into parent guilt.
No,
but that's part of it as you're juggling all of this. So for me, when they know I have a little earbud in, I let them listen. They hear what I'm listening to. They know that I'm doing my homework, I call it, but then you take those times. So you have to find that pendulum of balance in your business. And that's a really important thing. And that will stem back to that credibility, guys, and your consistency. There are key things you have to do in your business every single day if you are committed to moving this business forward. And yeah, it's like Groundhog Day, but you have to make it fun and you have to make it interesting and you have to learn every day. And by bringing that credibility and by you being that learner every day, you learn something. Yeah. And then it's different. Our landscape is different every single day. And I love that.
Sorry, you know what was Groundhog Day though? Was us commuting and driving 10, 12, 14 hours in our corporate jobs, driving. That was our Groundhog Day before. This Groundhog Day is a lot different. And I will say this about the parenting thing, because I know parent guilt is a huge issue. We parent maybe a little bit differently, I think. I will say this, and I'm not out of ego or bragging. A lot of people will tell us when they hang out with us and our kids are like, your kids are so well behaved. So I wanted to say that because you're probably thinking on the back end, yeah, they're on their business all the time. How are their kids? Our kids are really respectful and well behaved. Yeah. But the way we parent is we're not helicopter parents for the most part. Maybe unless they're on the trampoline.
A little bit.
She's a little bit. But we over communicate with our kids. They're 8 and 6 now, but when we started, they were, I guess, 4 and 6. We over communicate with them. So we explain everything we're doing. Yeah. We're like, this is why we're doing this.
Yeah. And I think too, you have to understand, we were traveling. I was working 16-hour days outside of the house. Guys, I went back after maternity leave, and I know a lot of you are in the States. We are very blessed in Canada to have a full year. I went back, Colby was 7 months. And for me, that was a lot to go back early because we didn't have another choice.
They're thinking,
I know, you're like, 7 months, stop complaining. But for us in Canada, that was and Jamie's mom raised, I had 30 minutes a day with my child for 2 years. And So now when I'm home with them and I'm working the business, I have to remember that they didn't have me before. And actually, I could cry right now because this business gave me back the gift of knowing actually what a mom is. Because I didn't know that until I started to come home and I stopped having to travel and get on a plane and be gone out of the house from 5 in the morning to 10 at night. And we say when we work hard and we say we have the courage and we say we have our why, we need to understand what that means, because there is a better way. You got to work hard. Yeah, we worked our tails off and we will continue to do so, so we never have to have a plan B. We don't have a plan B. And we didn't have a plan B from the minute we started coaching. Our mission was to come home, because what our current reality was not how we wanted to live this life. And I didn't want to raise up my kids. I had 17 nannies growing up, guys. 17. I was raised by 17 different people constantly. And there wasn't, again, like I said, there wasn't a lot of time and there wasn't a lot of great memories. And there were some, for sure, but that's not how I choose to raise up my kids. And we are all allowed and entitled to do it the way we want to. But this gave me a gift. And I'm really going to share that gift, you know, and I'm going to share the tools on how you can do that. And that's our responsibility. I feel like it's a responsibility.
Yeah. So the odd time we have to say to our kids, we're working, but we're home all day with them.
Yeah.
The odd time we have to say, yeah, we're working now. I think they understand that.
Yeah.
You know, and we explain to them when we get to
They are at camp.
Yeah,
by the way,
they're at camp.
Very happy.
Yeah, they're at day camp. But we, you know, when we get to do some of the fun things, I mean, we talk to them about being grateful and how blessed they are to have this life. Yeah. We tell our kids that all the time, and we practice gratitude with them. And the fact that we get to go on a Disney cruise, you know, with them, we explain to them why they get to do that. And and I think kids are a lot smarter than we give them credit for. And I think if you over communicate with them, explain why you do the things you do, I think that parent guilt can go away sometimes. Maybe not forever, but it's all about perspective too.
And so a couple takeaways that I wanted to share that, again, you did at the beginning. So for many of you, you never also said it was your business. Right from the beginning, we were a team, because even though I wasn't working the business and you were working so hard, serving so many people, I was the back end, getting lunches done, making dinner, getting the laundry done, doing those extra responsibilities. And you always said we were in it together. And I always felt empowered that even though it was never, I'm just working my business. So it wasn't an I versus him. And that helped me a lot. So I just want to encourage you guys to think about your voice when you're speaking about that business with your spouse and with your children, because you're doing this for them. This is our legacy. Our legacy is being able to do this. And my hope is to be able to have lots to be able to pass down from legacy to legacy and generation to generation. But if you don't include, you don't explain, you don't have that courage to say, guys, let's be all in together.
I think we've touched on a ton of topics. And
yes.
And I don't know how long your calls are, Janelle, but we'll close this off. But I wanted to finish with this, is that, and I wasn't planning on saying this, but I think it's important because, well, I'm a dude, so I can say it, but it's kind of like, and because I know the other issue too is sometimes spousal support, and we've talked a little bit about this. And my advice to you is, you can't always change the way people feel, but my advice, and I'm surprised at how many people don't do this, whether you're a man or a woman working this business and you have a spouse that maybe isn't as supportive. My advice to you is you know, sit them down when the kids are in bed, or when you have no distractions. Maybe grab a glass of wine, I don't know, and just sit down with no distractions and look them in the eyeballs and explain to them how important this is to you. Yeah, and it's surprising how many people don't actually do that with their spouse, and explain to them that, you know, you want to give this a shot. It's really important to you. It provides value in your life, and just maybe it has the chance to change, you know, your family's life. And I think if you do that, and you're honest and authentic and sincere with your spouse, that's the first step forward you can do with them. And then you kind of take it from there. After that, I don't do marriage counseling, so I won't go past that. But that's my advice to you, is really let them know how important this is to you. Because it's different. I get, this is different, and I get that. And as guys, you know, sorry, we can be a little stubborn sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So Janelle's like, oh yeah. We can't see any questions or anything like that, but that's kind of what we had for you today. So
can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, this was amazing, and I love that you guys did go into the whole working your business together and parenting even, because, well, first of all, just like you said, a lot of people are dealing with a partner or a family member who don't understand the business and therefore don't support it because they see their family member or their spouse or their partner working so hard at something that they themselves don't understand. And so since they love that person, they want to tell them to pull back and be careful. And they're just trying to protect that person, but it's only because they don't understand it. And so like you said, Jamie, you've got to, you know, sit down and have that heart-to-heart talk and help them understand what this business is and help them understand where your goals are. I've actually done a training called The Skeptical Spouse, where I had the spouses of some of the top coaches within my downline get on and straight up say, look, I didn't believe in this, and I thought it was dumb, and I thought it was this, and I thought it was that, and then where they are now. And so, you know, I'm just really glad that you touched on that, because it's so important that the whole family is involved in this and understands what's going on here, because this opportunity is absolutely huge, and you can't treat it like this little hobby thing and I hope it takes off. The whole family needs to understand. I wanted to ask you guys, did you, you know, being that you did this full time, because I worked my business while I was working full time for 2 years, and so I know how you felt. I just was like, holy crap, I get like 3 hours of sleep per night. Did you feel that imbalance as you were doing that? Because I think a lot of people go, oh gosh, Janelle, I don't know. I work full time and I'm doing this and things just feel out of balance and it feels really hard. And for me, I go, yeah, it is hard. And I think they expect me to go, oh, that's really strange. Because for me, it just fell into my lap, and I just found the time, and it was really convenient. Can you just speak on that it's not convenient?
Yeah, and it still isn't. We still aren't in balance when we're at home as well. There's a better balance, but you are always going to be out of that imbalance,
I
right?
think, yeah, and we don't, because that's the other topic I talk about a lot, is just work ethic and hard work. And I think we all have a different definition of what hard work is, and that's the difference. Some people need to redefine what their definition of that is. Like for me, I always use the example, like my great grandfather literally worked in a coal mine. Like that was hard work. Like going to war is hard work, you know. Chemotherapy, that's hard. Like perspective is everything. So I think there needs to be a period of imbalance if you want to achieve a certain level. But that being said, like, okay, and I always say we put in a lot of time into our business, but I don't consider it hard work.
Yeah. And I think we too, there were things we sacrificed. So I was part of the reason for me that I didn't want to coach was I loved Grey's Anatomy, and I love Mistresses and Bachelor. Like I loved all of those. So I would PVR them all. And all of a sudden, like week after week, I realized there was piling up. And I didn't have the 5 to 6 hour binge watch I would be doing. And I started to put those hours into my business. And what happened was, as we started to do that, and guys, I was doing a degree that required 10 to 15 hours on top of the 50 to 60 hour work weeks I was already doing. Like, plus you were superhuman dad as you were also building the business, because I wasn't there.
Go on.
So guys, it does require time. But what I love is it's pockets of purpose. Yeah. So I would be sitting at the boardroom table like this, waiting for the pee break so I could go post my post in the bathroom stall. So it's being highly organized and making sure that you're telling the story of your life. Share what you're eating for lunch. And snap a picture, post it on social. Like that's where you can still make your impact, even when you're working a busy life. So just don't forget to embrace the imbalance, because if you don't embrace the imbalance while you're chasing the balance, it's not going to work.
It's really just foregoing immediate gratification for future. Like that, I stopped playing online poker. I used to play, like, you know, the women are like, why do guys play fantasy baseball and fantasy football? And I used to do all that stuff.
Gosh.
I'd go play hockey with my guys once a week. I'd play baseball myself once a week. Yeah. I just was willing to forego all that immediate gratification because I had a goal for our family. Now I can go do all that stuff really as much as I want. I still don't because I'm passionate about the business.
But he doesn't.
But I don't because I love this. Like I love where we're going.
Yeah.
So
For sure.
I love that. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much for preparing all this. You hit on so many really, really key points and had such great stories to drive those home. I cannot thank you enough for spending your time today and teaching us and sharing with us. So appreciate you. I know everyone's just going to, my phone's just going to blow up right now with everyone saying how much they love this call. I wish we could see all their comments. Thank you.
Thanks, Janelle. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.